pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Goes, 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 goes,
It is the Red Pill Reality Show with your host Riscalla every Saturday night at 9 p.m. And now your host, Riscalla.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill.
Hello and welcome everyone. It is the Red Pill Reality Show. I am your host, Riscalla, coming to you on the LNM Network. It is February the 7th. My gosh, it's already the first week of February. I don't know why I keep getting so surprised about how quickly time is passing. February the 7th, 2015, and I am honored and privileged to have you with me tonight and to listen to some of the opinions and the facts that I bring out about our world around us. One of the things that I have come to firmly believe and understand is it's a fact. To me, it's a fact. Now, there may be people who question what I'm about to say, but to me, it's a fact because I have seen it happen over and over and over again. And what I'm talking about is this small group of people. When I say small, in relation to the number of people on the planet versus the number of people who are really controlling everything, that number is very, very small in relationship to how many of us there are. So when I say they, this is who I am referring to. And it occurred to me that it is, without a doubt, at least in my opinion, that these people, if you want to call them that, have to warn us in some way before they do anything. Now, I have given examples in the past of the lone gunman. Go on YouTube sometime and look up the lone gunman and tell me how eerily similar that video is to 9/11. And ironically, or suspiciously, if you are someone like me, it only aired one time. And yet it depicts an airliner being hijacked, initially with the suspicion that there is a bomb on the aircraft. And as the story unfolds, we find that the aircraft is the bomb. And that the aircraft's, I can't even talk tonight, the aircraft's destination are the Twin Towers, New York City. A little ruffled behind the ears tonight. I was kind of rushed in last minute. We had shows overlapping, and it took me a little bit to get everything set up. So, kind of ruffled at the last second there. But my point being is that these people who do these things. They have to warn us. They have to tell us what they're going to do. Now, whether that is encrypted or whether that is just plain outright in the open, they have to warn us about what they're going to do. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that in many movies we have seen where they have given clues about something that's going to happen. You know, I think of, what was that? The Batman movie. I believe it was the Batman movie. And at one point in the Batman movie, they point to something on the map. And the name on the map is Sandy Hook. I mean, like I said, sometimes it's encrypted, sometimes it's in your face. Regardless, by some sick law that they have to tell us. I guess that's their way of justifying, hey, you know, we told them they didn't care, so we did it. You know, maybe, I don't know. I can't think along that level. It's just beyond anything that I can comprehend that people can do these nightmarish things to other people. Simply for the sake of sometimes just doing them. It's beyond me. So what I'm referring to is that I believe in movies as well. We are told, we are given an explanation, if you will, of what is happening around us. And I was asked initially when I started the show why I picked the Red Pill reality show. And the main reason I picked it was because a red pill to me symbolizes the truth. And also that it is the color red, which reminds me of bloodshed and how people have suffered because of telling the truth. It's a upside down world today, my friends, because those who speak the truth have become the enemy. And they're labeled with different derogatory terms so that they are almost criminalized. In some cases, they are criminalized because of what they are trying to do. It's an upside down world. So what I wanted to do for you is I wanted to play part of the Matrix, which the red pill, the name red pill came from a movie called The Matrix. Now I know most of you know this. There may be some who don't. So for those who are not familiar, the red pill came from the movie The Matrix. And the purpose of taking the red pill was to be led down the proverbial rabbit hole and see how far it went. And along the way, you would discover the truth. The deeper you went, the more truth that you would discover. So in this little clip, which is a little almost 3 minutes long, I'd like you to listen closely to what I'm about to play for you and see how eerily similar, for those of us who are awake, how eerily similar this is to what is going on today. Have a listen.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Now, at one point, he explains to Neo that the Matrix is all around us. It's everywhere we look. You see it when you look outside your window. You see it when you pay your taxes, when you go to church, and on and on and on. I believe that has come, my conclusion, let me rephrase it. My conclusion from that is that what he's referring to is a state of mind. Those of us who are awake would refer to someone like that would be asleep, so to speak. I describe it as though somebody driving down the road, they are asleep, but their eyes are wide open. And what I mean by that is that they're not really paying attention to the driving that they're doing. They're kind of on autopilot. You know, they stay in their lane. They're the only car around. They typically don't get into packs of other cars, so to speak. I'm referring to when people are traveling, so to speak. And they're in their own little world while they're driving down the road. And for some people, and this has happened to me, I've taken a 3-hour drive and almost hypnotized during this entire episode of my life, get to my destination and thought to myself, my God, that didn't seem like 3 hours. I swear it just started like a half an hour ago. But I believe what he's referring to is that kind of hypnotic state, so to speak, where people see things that are happening, but they just, for whatever reason, don't want to accept it. That the Matrix is all around us. It's everywhere. It is the system, as he refers to. And unfortunately, he's 100% correct. It is a system that has been perpetrated upon us for the sake of the benefit of a few. The rest of us suffer. But it's not enough for us to suffer because they feel it is their place to control our lives. So when you try to explain to somebody what is going on today, so many people have a difficult time coming to terms with what you're saying for so many reasons because they don't even realize that they have been programmed, if you will. I mean, literally programmed into believing in a certain manner. And when you go against that grain, you begin to churn up within them different emotions, and they don't like that. But unfortunately, I know of no other way to explain it to somebody. I know of no other way to get the truth across without just telling it like it is, without trying to add anything to it or take away anything from it. Just try to explain what it is. And sometimes people misunderstand that, and they think that I'm being rude or something like that, or a fearmonger. I mean, I've been referred to as many different things. When in fact I'm really not, the fear-mongering part, I think I got that quite a bit initially. Really wasn't trying to install fear in anybody. I was trying to bring people to the awareness of what was going on. And maybe that was their way of being able to reject it in their mind justifiably. I don't know. I only know that I've reached another level in my message to the people, and that is we can change everything. That really, there's to me, the amount of effort that I am putting into pointing out all the things that are wrong with this world has dropped almost to nothing, because I don't want to give my energy to that anymore. I've learned that in a weird, whacked out way, that's kind of helping I'll perpetrate all of that. Because I've experienced in my life that what I have been saying, what I believed to be true, I've actually experienced. Now I'm going to explain that to you. From the inception of this show, the Red Pill Reality Show, I have told people that the answer to the problem of today has been that we must unite. We must build relationships. And absolutely we must pray. Now, I'm not asking you to pray a Christian prayer, a Muslim prayer, a Hindu prayer, a Jewish prayer. I'm just asking you to seek God with all of your heart. My Christian friends cringe when I do this. But my point is, I truly believe that if you will seek God with all of your heart, He will explain to you. But you have to be humble, and you have to be willing to be open to the Creator of this universe, to the Creator of everything around us. And a lot of us are not willing to do that. Why? Because we don't have a good relationship with ourselves. We're looking to someone else to save us from ourselves. God will not save you from yourself. I have news for you. If that were true, how many people would have committed suicide? He will not save you from yourself. You are a sovereign being. Once you are created, you are to make the decisions, not God. God can advise you. God can give you a template. God can show you a course. But He's not going to stop you from anything. Now, to some people, that's kind of goofy. But that's the truth. That's the reality of it all. So, back to this recipe, if you will, that I have determined more and more as with each day growing older, I am more and more certain of what I am telling you is accurate and can be done very quickly. And that is that we become united. Now, the last couple of shows I have expressed to you that I have witnessed this on a microscopic level. I have seen this happen. That I have learned that people want to get along more than they want to fight. For me personally, I won't speak for you who listen to me. I'll speak for me. I'm sick and tired of all these wars. I'm sick and tired of all the bloodshed on this planet. That's part of the reason I do what I do. I want to bring it to an end. Some people look at me and go, yeah, sure, you got a chance like a snowball in hell. But see, this is where we differ. Because I truly believe, because again, I have witnessed, but even before I witnessed, I only witnessed this several weeks ago. I've been given this message for years now. So before I witnessed it, I believed it. And then I witnessed it, and that just made me believe it even more. Put the fire that is in my heart even hotter than it was before. And that is to tell people, we've got to get straight with ourselves first. Some of us are hurting really bad. Some of us have had things that have happened to us in our lives that just hurt. And it's difficult to come to terms with. But I tell you, it's like a cancer inside of you until you can get it out. And the way to do that is to face yourself, to understand that you are the most important person in your life, you. Now, I'm not trying to be conceited. I'm not trying to get you to have an ego that is so big you can't fit in the front door. I'm trying to get you to realize the truth. And when you realize the truth, you won't have to worry about your ego. You won't have to worry about your image. You won't have to worry about what other people think about you, because you will be happy with you. And in doing so, you will create more meaningful relationships. In the creating of more meaningful relationships, you will have a deeper bondage, unity. This can all be done very quickly, my friends. I'm telling you, I have no doubt in my mind, within the span of months, we could completely change this country to start with. I know that's a fantasy to some of you, but I'm telling you, I have no doubt in my mind. There's not an eye blink of doubt in my mind that this can be done in a very short period of time. Because I truly believe, first of all, I think that people are just absolutely sick and tired. Generally speaking, whether they are awake or whether they are asleep, they are just sick and tired of this current situation that's going on in this country. Secondly, I truly believe that people want to get along more than they want to fight with each other. I saw a video of wish I could remember this man's name. He was an intermediary between the Crips and the Bloods, or whoever, two of the biggest rival gangs. Two of the biggest rival gangs in California, and I think it was the Los Angeles area. He brought peace between the two of them. And you know, when it was all said and done, they were happier that way. Here they were killing each other. For how long? For nothing more than wearing the wrong color or stepping on someone else's block or some silly thing. And now they're at peace with each other. I've seen this firsthand. Those of you who have listened to me, well, I'm having a harder and harder time speaking tonight. I got to tell you, I'm pretty emotional tonight because this message that I'm trying to bring to you is to myself as well. Many times when I say things to you, it is to myself as well. And I'm having to face some things right now that are very difficult. I've never been in a position in my life where I wasn't able to provide for my family and make a living with sufficient amount of finances where if I needed something, it wasn't a big deal. And I've reached a point in my life now where I've worked harder than I've ever worked before, and I'm making less. I don't know how many of you can resonate with that, but I'm telling you the truth. I'm working harder now than I've ever worked before, and I'm making less money than I've ever made before in my life. And it's gradually becoming less and less and less, and it's quite frustrating. It's quite frustrating, especially when you've devoted 20 years of your life to this one particular industry that I've been in. So let me get back to the subject at matter. And that is the relationship that we have with ourselves. And the better that relationship is, the better that the relationship with everything else around us, including God, you will come to an understanding that you previously did not have, including God. You will have a newfound respect. You will have a humbleness, if you will, about you, because you will understand just how powerful you are, because you have that spark of God, and each one of us has this within them. And one of the things that upsets me is that through the course of this last year, because of outside occurrences, I have allowed that to stress me out somewhat. And as a result of that, I've lost a degree of my ability, what people call psychic ability. It's not, my Christian friends, they understand. They know that when I speak of something, it's coming from God. For me, I call it upstairs sometimes. I'll say it's from the spirit realm, but I know it's coming from God because that's all I'm open to. I don't allow anything else to interfere with me spiritually. So, but when I say psychic, I'm saying to you that there is a area of your life, of your being, of your experience here in this planet. There's an area of that is spiritually related, and it's a part of you. It's a part of you that is experiencing what you're experiencing at a different level. And when that part of you is out of balance, when that part of you is not in line with what you want, typically you're not a very happy person. You can put on a smiley face, you can be cheerful all the time, you can tell yourself all kinds of positive thoughts, but deep down inside, this is what I'm trying to get through to you. Deep down inside, when it's just you and you're not happy. And we have many reasons not to be happy. I mean, my God, look at around this world. Look at what's going on around this planet. Look at how many people are suffering. There's plenty of reasons that we can find not to be happy. But I'm submitting to you. I am asking you to consider that there is an abundant amount of information that will make you happy, that will turn your heart. But first you've got to start with yourselves. This lesson that I am trying to get across to the people, the reason that I am repeating myself over and over with this since the last 3 weeks is because I truly believe that God has given me one of the answers to the greatest questions that I've been asking, and that is, how do I change all this? Who wants to go through like this anymore? Who wants to live a life like this, knowing that people are dying simply for money, simply so we can go in and rape their land of whatever that they have and treat them like worse than animals? How do we stop all that? When your consciousness becomes a little higher as you are awake, you begin to think about more things than just yourself. I asked a question. I know that the ladies can relate to this, but the guys have a more difficult time. I asked a question a couple of weeks ago. And the question was, have you ever been so happy for somebody else that you actually cried for them because you were so happy inside? Girls have no problem doing that. Guys have a problem with that. The reason I'm telling you that is that as you raise your consciousness level, you become more aware. I have said many times, your world has changed, but yet it is the same. You look at things, you process things differently. The idea of a life being ended is not something that you constantly think about, but something that you're aware of. That any one of us could not be here tomorrow. That with each day that we're here, it is a blessing. It is something to be happy about. Regardless of the external situation that we're going through. Some people are going through horrible marriage breakups or girlfriend-boyfriend breakup or whatever. Troubles in their families. As you raise your consciousness level, you'll understand that this is by design. This is all being perpetrated upon us by design. And the answer is, for each one of us individually, to have a better relationship with ourselves. We won't feel so threatened. We will not feel the fear any longer that these people are trying to shove down our throats. I read an article the other day where Congress is introducing legislation that body armor is going to be illegal. Come on. Anything that can protect us is going to be illegal. They want more and more and more control. How are you going to stop them? By launching a war against them? You honestly think that you're going to win? Come on, let's get real here. Let's be serious. We need to discuss this as adults. Launching a war against them, you will have lost before the first bullet is shot. You will not get anywhere. The only thing you will succeed in doing is helping them perpetrate their plan even more, because that's what they want. It doesn't work that way. I mean, that's the natural way for us to respond. 2 months ago, if you had asked me if I had the opportunity to wipe this planet of these people who are doing all of this, I would have said, let's do it. In a blink of an eye, let's do it. Then I went through some experiences that made me realize that doing that made me like them. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be anything like them. I'm not anything like them. But in this feeling that I had, that if I had the opportunity to wipe this planet of them, 2 months ago I would have said, yeah, in a heartbeat, pal, in a blink of an eye. When you come to the understanding that in doing that, makes you like them. You want to be like them? I don't want to be like them. So I've changed the way that I process. Now don't mistake what I'm saying to you. You have every right to protect yourself against them. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is not to be as them, not to go launch violence against them, because that is what they want. And that the way to get our country back, to get our families back, to get our relationships back starts with us individually. And becoming more comfortable with us and not worrying about what other people think or what kind of image that we have in other people's minds. We are who we are. Come to that exception. Accept that for what it is. God has made you the way that you are. It's a rough road to go down because nobody wants to face themselves. It's a difficult task to look in the mirror and look at yourself, look at your reflection, and say with all your heart, with all your being, that you love that reflection. Again, this is not about being conceited. This is about having a value for yourself, and in having that value for yourself and your life, it increases the value of other people around you. You no longer look at other people the way that you did before because the external that you see doesn't base the decision that you have. You look at them because they are a human being and recognize as a human being they deserve a degree of respect. Even these scumbags, even these criminals that are doing what they're doing, if I was asked the same question today, I would say, let's put them in our wonderful camps that they have planned for us. But rather than take their lives, I would have no problem in putting them where they were planning on putting me. And we got plenty of room, my friends. There's plenty of room for them. Some of these camps have railroad tracks. Some of these railroads have boxcars with shackles. They're preparing. And the greatest threat to them, the greatest threat that shakes their very foundations, the greatest threat that would bring about the most horrible nightmare for them would be that you and I lock arms, that your friends and my friends lock arms, and their friends lock arms, and that we become united as one. I tell you, it's like a vampire that is that has the sunlight that has hit them. If you've ever seen those movies, they literally disintegrate. I believe that if the consciousness level of our country would rise to the point of understanding what these people are doing to us, we just simply wouldn't need them anymore. We wouldn't need government as we call government today. Specifically, the federal government. It has become overreaching. It is without doubt the most corrupt, the most vile, the most disgusting administration that we have ever had. We have evidence that the Muslim Brotherhood is in different aspects of the administration. There is clear, without question, evidence, if you will, that this man that they call the president, not a Christian, doesn't want what's best for this country as an American citizen would want for this country. He wants to change everything. And the change he wants to bring about isn't a very sweet change, my friends. The change he has in mind is not a walk in the park. It's a walk in the camp. So the way that we're going to win this battle, if you will, and I have said many times that we are in a war. There is a war that is going on. There's a war that is being perpetrated against you and me. It has been declared by our very government in open session, if you will. They have passed legislation that declares the United States of America is a battleground. I see the manipulation clearer and clearer, day in and day out. And it just convinces me more and more that the solution to this pollution, if you will, starts with each one of us individually. Starts with our hearts, starts with the way that we feel about ourselves, because as we do that, the entire consciousness level of everything around us begins to rise. People start to behave differently. You respond differently. It just changes your world, yet your world is still the same. It starts with you. It starts with yourself. It starts with respect for yourself. It starts with the ability to face whatever it is that you have done and understand that that is in the past. It has nothing to do with my future. Because as of today, it starts new. You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show. I am your host, Riscalla. We'll be right back. The odds are 8 times more greater that you are killed by a law enforcement officer than a terrorist. Does that make you feel safer?
Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply until every natural resource is consumed. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus.
I'm Ryan Gable, host of The Secret Teachings and author of The Grand Illusion Slaves to Perception, and you are listening to the Red Pill Reality Show hosted by Riscalla Steffens on the L&M Radio Network.
The L&M Radio Network and Late Night in the Midlands depends on you, the listener. Without you, there would be no us. So help us continue to bring you the best guests with the best information and subscribe today. Information on becoming an L&M subscriber can be found at the top of LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Just click the About Subscriptions tab and become part of the family while helping the truth stay alive. And while you're at it, maybe subscriptions aren't for you. A one-time donation helps as well. Click that donate button on the right side of LateNightInTheMidlands.com and help us help you.
Hello, this is Dick Farrell, here to tell you about OxySilver. Legally available only through CureShop.com and HealthyWorldStore.com. Don't be fooled buying silver products from copycats and criminals. You've heard Dr. Leonard Horowitz and experts urge you to avoid deadly vaccinations and illegal operators selling stolen OxySilver and OxySilver copycats. You've heard experts tell you about suppression in alternative medicine and confusing propaganda in healthcare and the truth movement. Read Dr. Horowitz's book, Healing Celebrations, to learn how miracle healings can be made to happen through faith, prayer, and a pure diet. Get great immunity using vitamin C, D, and OxySilver, Liquid Dentist, GI Flora Pro, a top-shelf probiotic. Use Green Harvest as a great-tasting meal substitute for energizing organic nutrients and losing weight. And Zeolove, and natural clays for detoxifying your body. More advice, all these products and more are available from theCureShop.com. Including OxySilver, the world's most powerful silver hydrosol. Electro-energized to put risky injections, toxic antibiotics, and deadly drug pushers out of business. OxySilver is covalently bonded to water. Unlike any other silver product using the frequency of chlorophyll 528, what Dr. Horowitz explains is pure tone love, the universal healer. NASA originally developed covalently body silver hydrosols to keep astronauts healthy in space. Dr. Horowitz added the 528 frequency to NASA's formula and more. OxySilver works three ways to electrocute dangerous germs better than anything, far better than all leading silver products, and without any risk. OxySilver oxygenates and resonates with 528 for faster healing. So help save lives, putting drug lords and criminals out of business, and keep the LNM network broadcasting. Register for our free cooperative at healthworldaffiliates.com/4948. That's healthworldaffiliates.com/4948. And buy OxySilver and other great products in package specials at great discounts from theCureShop.com. Buy OxySilver, GI Flora Pro, Green Harvest, Zeolove, and Love Minerals at great discounts at CureShop.com. That's CureShop.com with two P's. CureShoppe.com. Or call toll-free at 1-888-621-7611. That's 1-888-621-7611. Do it now.
You have found a bright spot on the internet by listening to K98Talk.com, where our goal is information and entertainment with programming for the entire family. We take a fresh new look at topics that will spark your interest and more at K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
From all of us at the LNM Radio Network to all of you who have tuned in and showed your support in 2014, we wish you all a very happy 2015. Thanks to you, Late Night in the Midlands is on its way to 8 years and counting. The best guests with the best information and the best listeners around the world. Late Night in the Midlands. We cover everything. Join us every night from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern on the LNM Radio Network, and join us every Sunday night at 12 a.m. Eastern on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Riscalla. every Saturday night on the LNM network from 9 p.m. to midnight. And now your host, Riscalla.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill.
I want to just say thank you to each of you who take the time to tune in and listen to the Red Pill Reality Show. And also say thank you to the LNM Network for providing us the opportunity and the vehicle, if you will, to reach so many people. We have a great crew, a great team, and I believe that each one of them deserves to be acknowledged. Michael Vera, if it wasn't for Michael, there wouldn't be an L&M. That's just a fact. We have Ryan, we have Ira, you have me, and together we do the best that we can to provide you with information that I believe, if you will listen to it carefully, much of the information that you're given is life-changing information. Tonight, what I'm telling you is life-changing information if you want it to be. It's only what you put into it. And I believe that the LNM network is what it is because of all the time that Michael has put into it. I don't know of anybody who is less... No, maybe that's not the right way to put it. I don't know of anybody that would be more committed to doing what he's doing. I mean, I have told you before that the man's having a heart attack and he's telling his wife, I'm not going anywhere until you can get somebody to tell me the show's going to go on. And that's the kind of people that you have here at this network. And more than ever, we are needing your help. This is part of the experience that we have here, and that is that we are listener-supported, and we are needing your help. The situation is not getting any easier. We definitely need some new equipment, and the subscriber base has not reached the ultimate level where we don't ask any longer. That's really what we would like to do. We'd like to get to the point where we have enough subscribers where that something is just not have to be mentioned because it's already automatically taken care of. So the way that you can help, of course, is to, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I don't even, it's such a small amount. I think it's $5. I may be wrong, but I think it's $5. You know, less than a fast food restaurant meal, if you want to call it a meal at that. That's a whole nother 3 hours of talk altogether. But it's $5, I think. And if it's $5, so you give up one meal for a whole month. And in exchange for that, you're going to get information that you're readily not going to find anywhere else. It's certainly not going to be found on the mainstream media. You're going to be listening to different hosts and guests that are going to, at the very least, give you information that you could possibly use to help change this place. Discuss subjects that typically aren't discussed anywhere else. We had a man on the other night who was talking about death and all the different aspects and the realms, and you can't have that kind of stuff just anywhere, you know? So if you would, we need donations, we need subscribers. And now more than ever, we need your help. So if you would, please, if you are already a subscriber, thank you. And to those who have donated so much, thank you. it's an uphill battle, my friends. It is an uphill battle, and if we all just share a little bit. When I ask for someone to subscribe, it's not because I haven't subscribed myself. I don't ask anything of anyone that I don't do myself. I am a subscriber. I pay it's automatic, so I don't know, but I think it's $5. I may be wrong, and maybe $3. I don't know. I think it should be $5 if it's not, but that's a whole different story. But we need your help. I mean, this is a two-way street between the L&M network and the listener. It should be a two-way street, because as long as it's a two-way street, we are responsible to each other. We won't give you a bunch of junk. You follow what I'm saying? Otherwise, we can go out and get some big corporation to sponsor us, but then we have to live under their guidelines. And those of you who know Michael, we tell them to take a hike. Not only take a hike, but go pound sand. So you know where I'm coming from. Anyway, all right, that's enough of that. Let's get on to the subject at hand tonight, which is you, the listener. And the way that you, the listener, view you, the listener. Because I believe that it is in developing a better relationship with ourselves that we're going to make this inevitable change. This change is going to happen, my friends, inevitably. Now, it's just a matter of how much hell do you want to go through before it happens? I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Because that's what these people are perpetrating upon us. Slowly but surely, a hell here on this planet. This is what they want. I don't know of anyone who is so serious about the plans that they have that they would take it and write it down in stone, and I think it's in 12 different languages, and then place it in the middle of a field in Georgia and call it the Guidestones. These people are very serious. These people are unfortunately extremely powerful financially, and that makes them very dangerous because they are not of the right mind. These are sociopaths. These are just absolutely insane people who don't have a conscience. It's difficult for the average person who cares in general. They have somebody that they care for, something that they care about. It's difficult for them to try to understand that these people don't have those kind of feelings. They don't care. The only thing that matters to them is what they want. Extremely self-servient. Could care less about anything else other than what is best for them and possibly their small circle of influence. Other than that, see you bye. Now, as I expressed just a few moments ago, they are extremely powerful with regard to how much finances they have. That really tips the scale in their favor considerably. But the way that we can balance that scale out, the way that we can actually tip the scale in the opposite direction, if you will, is that for us to become as one, for us to become united, for us to build relationships. If you think about this for a moment, this country, when it was first started, there were people that came over here and moved to places that were barren. And the way that they were able to make it is with their neighbors' help. Many of them were self-sufficient. But with their neighbors' help, it made it that much easier. And through that, what is the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, I can't think. It's cooperation. It's through that cooperation of working with each other made each other's lives that much easier. You know, I have expressed that I had a vision years ago about how this beautiful place that I saw in this vision. Come to realize later on that was a possibility for this planet, where there weren't any more wars. We didn't have fear didn't exist anymore in the sense that we see it today. It just didn't exist anymore because people had risen to the level of understanding. I go back to the analogy of a child and a pacifier. You reach an age where you don't need the pacifier anymore. Then you reach an age where you don't need the baby food anymore. Then you reach an age where you don't need the little kid food anymore. You don't eat the little kid cereals anymore. As you mature, you just don't need these things anymore. Unless you're a goofball like me, I ate Frosted Flakes till I was 23. I love Frosted Flakes. I used to. Not anymore. Well, you see what I'm getting at. You understand what I'm saying. that we reach a point in our lives where we just don't need this or we don't need that anymore. We don't think about it anymore. And that's what would happen. That's exactly what would happen if we could all raise our consciousness level to the point where people care about each other simply because they are who they are. Not because of anything that they own, not because of anything that they've done, not because of their name, not because of the way they look, none of that. Just because they are. When you get to that point, the rest of this nonsense will go away. It will just go away. There won't be any need for it. Our planet is being poisoned day in and day out. There are reports that the entire Pacific Ocean now is completely gone. I don't know how accurate that is. I've only seen them in several places. But it doesn't surprise me with what's going on in Japan. It doesn't surprise me at all. What kind of, sort of, concerns me is that there's absolutely no word at all about what's going on with the original BP oil leak. You hear nothing about that. Yet it is still continuing to this day. Now, it may not be continuing in at the rate that it was. They may have slowed it down considerably. The point being is that it's still continuing and you're not hearing about it. And people are dying from weird stuff. Fishes are coming up. Crustaceans are coming up with weird growths, weird colors, all along the Gulf. They're spraying this stuff called Corexit, which is some of the most vile, disgusting stuff in the world, which causes this crude oil, instead of floating, makes it sink to the bottom. They want to run a pipeline through our country, my friends. Are you going to tell me that there's no danger of that pipeline ever bursting? What's going to happen then? When you understand that we don't need petroleum in the degree that we are using it today. Petroleum is so much of our everyday lives. It literally encircles us with just about anything that we do. It's in our food. It's in our pharmaceuticals. It's being used to power our power plants so that we can have electricity. It's being used in our vehicles so that we can travel. It's being used in the aircraft. It's everywhere. And because it's everywhere, it has become an industry that is extremely powerful with regards to finance. The flip side of that is that in order for them to continue supplying us with what they call, quote, our demand. It's not our demand. It's a program that is perpetrated upon the people to create demand. That's what it is. So as they increase their search for new energy sources, they continue to destroy our planet. Now, some of you might think that I'm not of my right mind, let's put it that way, when I say to you, we don't need gasoline anymore. I can show you project after project after project, not just a couple, many, many projects that could be submitted, that could easily provide mass transportation for us and would provide zero, Z-E-R-O, zero pollution to our atmosphere. Some of them would be self-propelled. You wouldn't even have to charge them up. Others would run on water, And for those who are hell-bent on running on gasoline, you could still have your gasoline cars. But with the right kind of engine and the right type of filtration system, the emissions would be zero. You would burn completely all of the fuel that you're using, even though we wouldn't want to do that. But my point being, this industry, this energy industry, if you will, has become so powerful and corrupt that they feel it is their place to stay on top. And they were willing to do anything to keep it that way. This is part of the small group that I referred to earlier. They're the top boys right now, the oil industry. They want to stay on top. They don't want technology that would come out and help you and I. Whether it is good for the planet or not really doesn't matter to them. It's that they don't want to lose that threat. They don't want to lose that, not threat. They don't want to lose that hold that they have. That the alternative modes of energy available would be a threat to them. A threat to their way of life, a threat to their luxury, a threat to their ability to hold power over us. But yet, all of this that I'm telling you is a fact. I can give you places to go and things to look at and see that technologies exist that would transform our lives completely. Imagine not having to worry about another gasoline bill. Imagine about not ever having to put gas in your car. And I'm not talking about having to plug it in at night either. There are systems that are available that would be self-charging. As long as you're driving the car, the system's charging. It's a combination of things that help it work. But no matter, it still works. It's just been suppressed. There was a movie that came out, not a movie, a documentary would be a better description, that came out some time ago, and I think, I'm going by memory, but I think the name of it is Who Killed the Electric Car? If you can find that, watch it. It's very interesting how three of the major manufacturers came together, 3 or 4 of the major manufacturers came together, and they collaborated with each other and built an electric car. And you could not buy that car. The only thing you could do is lease the vehicle. And at the end of the vehicle, the car was required to be turned in. You could not, I don't know if some people are aware, but there are leases where you can lease a vehicle, and at the end of the lease, you can purchase the vehicle. This was not one of those. This is those, you had to turn the vehicle in. So these vehicles were out on the road for, I think, about 3 years, and then were turned in. And they gathered all that data up, whatever was required on the vehicles, how much maintenance, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And at the end of the leases, what they did is they destroyed these absolutely perfect, nothing wrong with cars. Why? Ask them. I don't know. I believe it was because it was a threat to them. They realized that the cars were too efficient. And they're not going to be able to make money. It's all about money, my friends. It's all about that power that comes with that money. That's the greatest problem that we're facing today on this planet with regard to what is happening. That money has become such a powerful tool in our day in and day out lives. And I believe truly that when we raise our consciousness to that level, money's going to have a completely different meaning in our lives. It won't be what it is today. Things will happen because they are meant to happen, because it's right for them to happen. Not because somebody's trying to suppress it, not because somebody's worried about losing money. But it's going to start with you and start with me. It's going to start with how we feel about ourselves. And that's going to reflect in how we feel about each other. The greatest of the gifts that we have is that little spark that God has put inside of us. Now, whether we choose to nurture that or not is up to us. It's about decisions. When it's all said and done, it's about decisions. Do we wish to allow what is happening to continue happening? All around this planet, I hear a message, and it's becoming more and more clear. And the message that I hear is that we the people are the rightful owners of power, and we the people are going to take the power back. Now, how much hell we want to go through before that occurs, that's up to you the people. I'm ready. I'm ready, I'm willing, and I am able. And my purpose in doing what I'm doing is to try to get more people ready, willing, and able. When there's enough of us, it's only going to take 3 to 5%. That's all it's going to take, my friends. 3 to 5% of us being ready, willing, and able. And we can bring about a change that would just knock the socks off this, what's going on today. We would bring honor back to our country, our relationships, our families. We wouldn't be doing what we're going through today. We wouldn't be working like slaves. All of that would stop. You know, he says, Morpheus says in one part of the explanation that you were born a slave. How true is that? We were born into slavery by a system, by the Matrix. I want to play this and kind of go through it a little bit with you.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
Now, I felt something. Not my entire life. Mine didn't start until February of 2002. But I felt that something was wrong with this world. And I couldn't explain it. I just knew. My gut inside of me knew something is not right. I watched our country attack another country as though it was a game. We're going to bring shock and awe onto those who have stood with the terrorists. And we attacked another country. In the span of a short period of time, we attacked two separate countries that I came to find out had nothing to do with 9/11. Nothing! But it started with that feeling. Something wasn't right. Something just wasn't right. And I wanted to know what it was.
That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
How many of you know that there's something just not right? Something is just not right. Not to those of you who are awake and understand that we are being controlled, but others. When you have a conversation with somebody else, have you ever asked them, hey, do you feel something's just not right in the world today? Something's just, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. It's just, something's just not right. You ever ask anybody that? I do. I ask that quite a bit. And the majority of the time they say, yeah, but you know, that's just the way things are. I got to tell you, I have to put my tail between my legs. I have to bite my tongue and walk away. Because that's a sorry-ass excuse. It really is.
Matrix. Do you want to know what it is?
I think that the greatest threshold in order for someone to be able to understand what's going on is they need to get to that point in their lives where they want to know. And I'm just relating to you from my own personal experience. I cried out to God, something is wrong. Something is wrong. And I want to know. I want to know what it is. Be careful what you ask for. I got my answers. Not everything. Probably about 80%. And the answers that I got, I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown because I couldn't believe what I was coming across. I couldn't believe that friends of mine who put our lives on the line for this country did so for a lie, for an absolute lie. I'm referring to the Vietnam War, and specifically the Gulf of Tonkin incident, that has now been determined to be a lie, all made up. For that lie, 60,000 of my generation, at least that's what they report. Who knows what the real number is? It could be 3 times that much. 60,000 that were reported on the American side had been killed. Who knows how many hundreds of thousands were wounded, disabled, hurt in some manner. How many Vietnamese did we kill, wound? For a lie. For a lie. Listen, what I am telling you is not a fantasy. What I am telling you is not an opinion. What I am telling you is a fact. You go on the government website, usgov.gov. I get a little emotional when I talk about this, so I don't think straight. You can look it up. Go on one of the search engines and look up Vietnam. And you will see what I'm telling you is accurate. It has been disclosed. The entire war was based on a lie. Now, just move forward a couple of years. A couple of decades. And you see what happened in Afghanistan. Now, they told us that, well, it was 19 Saudi that hijacked the aircraft, that flew the aircraft into the buildings, and they were all trained by our mortal enemy, Osama bin Laden, who is in Afghanistan. And then we have Mr. Wonderful himself, Bush, stand there and tell people either you're with us or you're against us. Oh, some crap. And because of his, quote, stand on terror, he publicly announced to the Afghani government that they needed to surrender Osama bin Laden because it was him that was responsible for 9/11. How many of you know what the response was? I'm curious, how many people know what the response was from the Afghanistan government when they were given this ultimatum? I know. You see, because I went back and I started to research and find this and find that, I found out that when they were given that ultimatum, they responded in a manner, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember the exact words, to the United States government. We, the Afghanistani government, would be more than happy to give you Osama bin Laden if you will provide us with any evidence that this man is guilty of what you say he is. We will capture him. We will bring him to justice for you. We require evidence. There was no evidence. For the longest time, Osama bin Laden was on the FBI number 1 list, but it wasn't for 9/11. Go look and find out what it was for. It wasn't for 9/11. We have been lied to from so many different avenues that it is difficult to accept anything as truth anymore. I have made it part of my policy, if you will. Question everything. Question me. You've heard me tell you, anything that I say to you, when I tell you it's my opinion, that's my opinion. I may be wrong. That's my opinion. But when I tell you it's a fact, if you can tell me that I'm wrong, please tell me that I'm wrong, because the last thing I want to do is tell somebody something that is not accurate. I am not above the being of... I will apologize publicly if I've given you something that is not accurate. All you got to do is show me. And I believe that would be true. I don't want to speak for the rest of the hosts, but I believe that would be true for any of them. If you hear them say something that is not accurate, that you know is not accurate, that you have evidence is not accurate, show them. And we'll straighten it back out. We'll make a public reconciliation, correction, if you will. How many other places can you go to and get that kind of attitude? How many other radio stations have that kind of attitude? Not very many, because most of them are sucking the money out of these people who are perpetrating the evil on this earth, basically. And we refuse to do that. So it's only going to be, with all of this complexity of this problem, and when you look at it, it is a complex problem. We're looking at billions of lives on this planet. How are we ever going to get billions of lives to think along the same line when we can't even get a classroom of kids? We can't, forget that, we can't even get a Congress a classroom of adults, if you will, if you want to call them that, to agree. How are you going to do that, Riscalla? This is a fantasy. You're dreaming. You know, on one hand, it is a fantasy and it is a dream because I have seen the vision. On the other hand, it is a reality because I have witnessed it firsthand. And no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter how I try to explain to you that this is possible, it's not going to happen until you experience it yourself. And that is the purpose of what I'm trying to do here, is to try to get you to experience this yourself. So much of our lives is based upon outside influences, when it is what is within us that is the most beautiful thing, far more powerful than any of this other crap that's going on around us. But because of our perception. You remember we had a discussion a while back about money? How worthless money is technically. The money that you carry around in your pocket, I got news for you. The penny that you have technically is worth more than that dollar, than $100. However high they go, I don't know. $1,000 bill, I don't know, whatever. It's worth more than that. Because the penny has precious metals in it that can be melted down, and that's worth something. That other thing that we're talking about, that bill, it's not, you got to melt it down, there's nothing to melt. There's nothing in it. It's fibers and some kind of material. That's the truth of the matter. That's the reality of today. But it is our perception. It is the way that we view it. It is the way that we believe that it's worth something that it continues to perpetuate through our economy. Because we have been programmed to believe that it is worth something. And in reality, it's not. Russia came to that understanding some time ago. China came to that understanding some time ago. Japan came to that understanding some time ago. Russia told the United States, along with China, we're not going to use your petrodollar anymore. Your petrodollar isn't worth spit. It's not backed up by anything. We're going to start using real currency. Currency that's backed up by precious metals. Gold-backed currency. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Libya. Because that's what Muammar Gaddafi told our government. He snubbed his nose at our government and made a very big mistake thinking that they weren't going to respond. These are the same people that shot and murdered one of our presidents in public to send a message out. You think they're not going to respond? It was a silly mistake on his part, but it cost him his life and his country. Do you know what he did? Do you know what he did? He introduced the dinar, gold-backed currency that was becoming more and more popular. Then he made a very big mistake on top of that and announced to the world that he was going to donate, I think it was $90 million or $190 million, a relatively large amount of money to Africa. Where are our troops going today? Guess what? To Africa. Well, Muammar Gaddafi all of a sudden became a enemy of the United States within the span of a year. A year prior to that, there were officials from our government shaking hands with this man, welcoming him. A year later, he is an enemy. Sound familiar? Oh, gee, let's see. Who else fit that pattern? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. The Shah of Iran, the President of Panama. Who else? Oh, Iraq. Iraq. How could we have overlooked Iraq? Saddam Hussein, who was a wonderful friend of the United States, who relied on the United States for what? What did the United States supply Saddam Hussein, my friends? Weapons of mass destruction. What did the United States attack Iraq for? Weapons of mass destruction. Now, can you get an idea how sick these people are? So that would be kind of like a doctor coming to you and say, hey, you know what, you got whatever it is. Here's some medicine. Take this medicine. And then coming back with the cops and having you arrested because you're taking the medicine. So that's what we did to him. He's got weapons of mass destruction. Of course he does. We sold it to him. Meanwhile, we're attacking Afghanistan because Afghanistan refused to turn over this horrible criminal who was sitting in a cave on a satellite phone, perpetrating the greatest crime ever in the history of our planet, of our recorded history, who overwhelmed the most powerful military, all on a satellite phone, and 19 of his buddies. Could you imagine? It was just a lucky break. I'm telling you, it was just a lucky break. Come on. Riscalla, you're dreaming. What are you saying here? What I'm saying here is that by design, in other words, there was a plan in place prior to any of this happening, that this was a scheduled event, and it went off without a hitch. Got everybody mad at the Muslims. Oh, it's the Muslims. Those bastards, we got to go get even. It's the Muslims. Osama bin Laden, let me get my hands on, let me choke that guy. Hey, listen, I was one of those people. Not for very long, but I was one of those people. I played right into their game. Go America, USA, USA, USA. I was right there, baby, flying that flag. How dare them do this to us? Even though in my gut, there was something wrong. There was something wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was something wrong. I remember having a discussion with my brother as we watched the second building come down. And I said to him, look at that. It just doesn't look right. Now, it wasn't that I questioned anything at the time. At the time, I was fat, dumb, and happy. You know, I was that kind of an American. I was making money. My relationships were okay. I could go do what I wanted to do. I was living the American life. But it just didn't look right to me to watch this building. It looked like the building was peeling apart like a banana. I remember telling him, it looks like a freaking banana. It looks like it's coming apart like a banana. It looks like it's being peeled apart. And of course we were told that, well, it was the weight of the upper part of the building that broke loose and it came down and it caused this. And what a bunch of nonsense. Now I understand that's a bunch of crap. Even then, I accepted it. I got to tell you, I accepted it. Hey, listen, they got to know what they're talking about over there. But then more and more weird crap kept happening. They found a passport. Out of all of this destruction, these two huge buildings got totally demolished. And they find a passport relatively unscathed. There was Saudi Arabian passport. Look at this guy. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, man, we got some really good intel. They figured out what was going on pretty quick. Well, I guess you could figure out what's going on pretty quick if you're the one who's perpetrating it. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So how could we have ever overcome any of that? Because prior to that, if you'll think about this for a minute, prior to that, what was the average American? Oh, yeah, it's America, big deal. No big, It took something like that to get the American public united. In one day, look at the change that happened in this country in one day. Are you going to tell me that we can't do that again, but this time make it a positive change? One day. The entire world changed in one day. My world changed in one day. I don't want to talk about your world because I'm not living your world, but I can tell you that the majority of people in this country's lives changed in one day. Almost 3,000 lives changed in one day. You going to tell me that we can't bring about a change like I'm describing to you? You still thinking that what I'm saying is a fantasy? Do you still think that what I'm telling you is not possible? one day, hundreds of millions of people changed their lives in one day. I've been giving this message to the people that I meet on a personal level. And those of them who are honest with me, and I appreciate their honesty, I don't take it as an insult. I truly would like to know how they feel. And those of them who are honest with me tell me that I'm dreaming, that this is not possible. They do agree that if it could be done, that it would make a change on our planet, but it's just not possible. Do you know that for people like them, it will never be possible? Because they've shut out the possibility. One of the things that I have learned about this experience that we call life, is that we can shut out an opportunity. We can literally choose to shut it out of our lives. And then go about our merry way and never think a second thought about it, never even realizing what we have given up. So many times, I can tell you in my life that has happened. An opportunity that was there, that I, because of whatever reason, because of whatever way that I made my decisions, because of whatever way that I processed my thoughts, caused me to walk away from that. And I look back at it now and I say to myself, I don't regret it anymore. After having taken this course, I have few regrets left anymore. But I can look back and go, wow, that would have really made a tremendous change in my life. What a life-changing event that would have been if I had done that. Positive or negative, I don't know, because I didn't go through it, so there's no telling. And positive and negative is really more of the way that you view something. Good or bad, it's all an interpretation, if you will. It's either going to help you or it's not going to help you. It's either going to make you feel at ease with yourself or it's not going to make you feel at ease with yourself. And I can tell you that the more at ease you are with yourself, the more comfortable this world will be for you. Regardless of the crap that these evil people perpetuate upon us, we will be more comfortable. Because the main factor that they have, their main ingredient in their recipe, if you will, is a 4-letter word. It starts with F. And it's not that one. Get your mind out of the gutter. It's fear. It's to keep you in fear. You know, whether you realize this or not, whether you understand how things work to the level that you have, no matter how I say it, it doesn't come out right. Here's something that maybe I can put it this way. When you love somebody, when you really, 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 really love somebody, when you're with them, do you feel fear? Because if you do, then you really don't love that person. When you really love somebody and it's you and them, how many times have you heard the whole world stops when you and I are together? Because your entire focus is upon that other person. That other person's entire focus is upon you. The entire world around you stops. Stops in the sense that you no longer feel all of these things that are going on. And that the opposite of love is not hate. Believe it or not, the two emotions run parallel with each other. They are very close to being identical. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. That takes me back to what we first started to speak about. The relationship with yourself. When you love yourself, the fear begins to go away. It is as though somebody has put a light within you and it is chasing the darkness out. I told you earlier in the show that at one time I, given the opportunity, if it were possible, and I were the judge, what would I have done to all these people? I would have taken their lives. Now, that's completely different. I will defend myself against them, but I won't take their lives. I'll give them the opportunity to live, because taking their lives would be as they, and I don't want to be like them. That's the understanding that I have come to. So I ask you, if you were given the opportunity, if somebody came to you and said, listener, you have this opportunity right now. We have corralled up all of the people who have perpetrated all of the evil on this planet. We've got them all in one place. And they hand you a remote control. And it's got a red button on it. And they tell you, push the button. You'll get rid of all of them in one shot. Would you do that? You see, I believe that if you would push that button, you are becoming as they. You are killing them. Regardless of your justification, you are killing them. Defending yourself is a different story. If they come and attack you, that's a different story. But if you corral them all up and you take their lives, you're no different than they are. That is the understanding that I have come to. Is that the understanding that you would come to? Because once you become more comfortable with yourself, I truly believe you will come to that understanding. And as more and more of us come to this understanding of being more comfortable with ourselves, regardless of what has happened to us in our lives. Some of us were bullied as kids. I was bullied as a child. I was in 7th grade, and these two of these guys, both of them bigger than me, they didn't like me for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not sure. They were 9th graders. And I rode my bike to school every day in 7th grade. And they would constantly ambush me. And one of the last times that they ambushed me, I was riding my bike to school. And I passed a wall. And I had a bad feeling about going past this wall, so I got on my bike and I stood up and pedaled, which makes you go faster. And as I passed the wall, they were behind this wall with a bow and arrow. See, back then kids could have toys like bows and arrows, but the bows and arrows that we had suction cups on the end of them, so you shot them, if you shot it at a target that had a smooth surface, it would stick. Well, they decided that they were going to pull the suction cup off. And they shot me with this bow and arrow. And I was a toy, okay? So it didn't stick in my skin, but it hurt. It hurt so bad that it drove me to crash my bike. Well, once I crashed my bike, they came running over and began to pounce on me and began to beat the snot out of me. And at one point, something snapped within me. And I attacked back. And I found myself at the police station the next day because they filed charges against me. Their parents did. Because when it was all over, I had beat the snot out of both of them. I had bit one kid so bad that he was bleeding profusely and couldn't stop bleeding. The other kid, I had grabbed his hair, I had taken a chunk of his hair out with my hand. That's what they tell me. I don't remember any of it. But I remember being in front of that police station and having to face the juvenile officer and explain to him why I beat the snot out of these two kids. After coming home and telling my mom and dad, for probably a couple of months, these kids are at school, and it didn't happen every day, but it happened on a weekly, at least one time a week. These kids would find me and do something to me. And most of the time it wasn't on the way to school. It was during school. It was in school. They would find something to do to me. One day, I don't know where they got it, but they had an egg, and they hit me with an egg in school. And I went to the office, and I explained to the principal, the vice principal, I guess it was, what happened. And they blamed me. They said, well, you were in a fight with somebody. I said, I wasn't in a fight with anybody. No, I got to go home. Big deal. So some of us have been bullied. Some of us have been abused verbally. Some of us have been abused physically, sexually, emotionally. Everybody is carrying around some kind of bruise. It's a matter of whether we're going to allow that to open up within us, understanding that in doing so, we are going to raise our consciousness level. We're going to feel better about ourselves, because all of that is gone. All of that is done. Some people don't even know about this stuff going on inside of them because it's residing in their unconscious mind. But what they don't understand is that all of this that is residing there is basing their decisions on those prior experiences. You're doing things because of what has happened to you previously. When you can come to the understanding and you realize and you open the doors and you face the pain and relive that again with the knowledge that this time it is for victory, that this time is the last time that it's going to hurt, that after this it is only an event in my life and I will feel no more emotion towards it. I will live for today and tomorrow and what is coming. And in order to do and make a better way, it's got to start with me right now, right here, today, and start moving in a positive manner forward. Something that would make me feel better about me. Something that would get me to the point where I don't care what other people say. During this training that I took, there had come a time where we walked into this room and there was like kind of not really a stage. It was like a raised floor, so to speak. And that's where the majority of the time the speaker was. Well, this particular day we walked in and we took our seats and there was a microphone. And typically there wasn't a microphone up there because the speaker used one of those portable mics. And there was a microphone on a stand there. And this time the speaker was in the back of the room and we were all facing the front. And the speaker was talking, and the conversation that was going on, in my mind, what I wanted to do is go up on that raised platform in front of that mic and share with those people what I was feeling. As this speaker continued to do give their speech, somebody did that. Somebody stepped up to the mic, if you will. Well, later on, during the course, as things, we broke for breaks and things like that. As we broke for a break, I went to the speaker and I said to that person, I had every intention of going up there and being the first. And she looked at me, and before she could say anything else, I said, it doesn't bother me to get in front of people and talk. I'm not worried about that. I'm not scared about that. And I'm not. I mean, I've spoke before hundreds of people before. That's something that just, I don't know, it's never really bothered me. I may get a little nervous, but it's not like I break down and. And she looked at me and she said, I know that wasn't the problem. Fear was your problem. And I got to tell you, the first emotion that came over me was anger. How dare you think that I'm afraid? That was the first. I mean, this all happened in seconds. But that was the first thing that happened to me. That was almost like a natural response in our natural form. When somebody tells you a truth, you kind of lash back at it. And then within the next couple of seconds, I decided to allow that to be a possibility. And she didn't say much more to me. We went about doing what we were doing. And then I guess we broke for lunch. Yeah, that's when we broke for lunch. And this was bothering the snot out of me. How could I be afraid? How could I really be afraid? I'm not afraid of going up and standing before these people and sharing with them. I had no problem with that. Finally, it came clear to me. It wasn't that I was afraid to go up there. and speak before these people. It was afraid that I would be wrong, that I would break the protocol to go up there and speak with these people. So what kind of fear do you have that's stopping you from going up and standing before the mic and sharing with yourself? What is stopping you from getting to that point in your life where you're going to make a decision that your life is going to be better, and in doing so, the people's lives around you are going to be better? Can you identify what it is that's holding you back? Are you willing to open the doors of your heart and search thoroughly what could be possibly holding you back? We were going through this explanation, and one of the things that he says is you were born a slave. In more ways than one, we are slaves. We have the key, and we don't even know we have the key.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you.
The world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you. Those of us who are awake know exactly where he's coming from. That they do things in plain sight. They hide it right out there in the open. Yet people don't recognize what is happening. The world that has been pulled over to blind you. It's difficult when you face yourself. What things have we pulled over in our subconscious or our unconscious mind to blind out those memories on a conscious level? And don't realize that it is that unconscious mind of ours that is driving everything. And even though we're not consciously thinking about it, it's resting there, taking its toll upon us because we are permitting it. We're not coming to the point of facing that head on and saying, I am victorious. And I do love myself, regardless of whatever mistakes I have made, regardless of what other people think, regardless of whatever material things I have or do not have. I am me, God has made me, and I love myself out of respect to God, who has taken the time to create me. I will now respect myself in a different way, in a different manner, in a higher consciousness. And in doing so, your whole world is going to change, I promise you. It will be the same, but your world will change.
And you're from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
I believe it's not just your mind. I believe it's your emotional being. I believe it's your spiritual being. I believe it's every part of you, that the entire system infiltrates every part of your life while you are yet driving down the road with your eyes wide open, but you're asleep. And the way to break this hypnotic spell is to feel better about yourself, because as you do, you will realize that there is a design in place, there is a plan in place, there is a program to cause you to feel the way that you did. And now that you have identified that, you can begin what is the most critical war in your life, and that is the war to love yourself as God loves you.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
You have to see it for yourself. You are the one who's going to have to face it yourself. So cryptic. These messages that are in this movie are so cryptic, yet they are so true. At one point, Neo stands before these, I can't remember what they called them. agents, I think they call them agents, as they're firing all these bullets at him. And it appears that he's going to die. I mean, they're just firing away at him. And he holds his hand out, and he says something like, no. And all of a sudden, the bullets stop before hitting him. And he picks one up out of midair and looks at it, investigates it. And then as he's doing so, the rest of the bullets just fall out of the air to the ground. And the agents look at each other astonished, because supposedly they were the only ones that had that power. And now he is displaying something even more powerful than them. And they're really not sure what their next move is. A man who walked the face of the planet 2,000 years ago was trying to tell people the truth. He was trying to explain to people that there is so much more to this life that you can have. There is so much more beauty that is available to you. But you are being programmed by a small group of people. Your religious leaders are corrupt. Now, he didn't come right out and say that. He displayed that through his actions. And the only time that this man, who was thought of as a peaceful, humble man, actually got physically violent was when he dealt with these people. And I submit to you, it is the same bloodline of these people who are still doing what's going on today. These are the Rothschilds, the Warlocks, all those names I can't, it goes on and on. These are the ones who are perpetrating, who fund both sides of the war, because no matter what, they win. It's the same people that he was trying to explain to them there is a much better way, and that the kingdom of God is within you and all around you. If it is within you and you refuse, for whatever reason, to discover it, look at the gift that you're passing up. You recall earlier I said we give up opportunities. We pass them by. We justify it for whatever reason. And we pass them by. Look at the opportunity that you have with yourself. I can't express to you how critical it is. People think that, oh, come on, Riscalla, get off it, man. I love myself already. You're the final judge would be you, but if you're going to be absolutely honest, I don't know very many people who really love themselves. When I consider all the people I know, I don't know a lot of people that truly love themselves, that accept themselves for who they are. All the good, all the bad, all the indifferent, everything. I don't know a lot of people that can handle that. They're more worried about whether a ball has enough air in it or not. They're more worried about whether their team is going to win the Super Bowl or not. And the irony of it all is that's all by design. That's what they want. They don't want you thinking about this stuff. Many people hear about this stuff and go, this is crap. Tune this guy out. Don't want to hear it. Why? Because you have been programmed so that you don't hear it. So that when it comes up, you're turned off to it. And that allows them to perpetuate their continued actions against us.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now, to me, taking the red pill that is a symbolic of being able to face yourself in a mirror. Being able to open yourself up and look at yourself and accept, by taking that red pill, whatever that has happened, whatever decisions that you have made are done. And they're no longer going to be a part of the way that you perceive your experience, which is what we call life here from this day forward. That you are going to change all of that. And the way that you're going to change all of that is to have a better relationship with yourself. And again, I'm not talking about being conceited. I'm not talking about having an ego so big that they have to literally shove you through the doorway. Because your ego, your head is have swelled so large it won't fit through the door. That's not what I'm talking about. That will actually work against you. It's about understanding how precious life is and being humble. And under no circumstance arbitrarily deciding what someone else is without knowing who they are. Allowing them the opportunity to be a friend rather than turning away. I saw a video with a guy. I think I shared this with you before. I saw a video of a guy who went to a busy intersection, took a blindfold and put a blindfold on, and had this cardboard sign that said, "I trust you, do you trust me?" And then held his arms out. And I think only one out of every 20 or so people stopped and gave this guy a hug. Because we've been programmed. The, was it ABC or NBC or one of those shows? I see the clips on YouTube of, I think the name of the show is What Would You Do or something like that. Where they set up I think this one I'm thinking about is a cashier. There was a cashier that was an actor. There was a customer who was an actor. And the skit was that the customer was going to have everything rung up, but she was just a few dollars short. And she would explain to the cashier that she's a single mom and she's having a hard time, and to see if anyone else who might be in line would step up to the plate and say, "Here, let me help you." And do you know, in more cases than not, someone stood up and helped this lady. All it did is verify what I was telling you earlier, that we would rather get along, we would rather live off of each other's happiness than live off of each other's misery. I played for you the, what do they call it? The perfect speech, or the greatest speech, where Charlie Chaplin says he doesn't want to be a dictator. He doesn't want to control people's lives. But in the process of saying all of this, he says something that is very profound. It's 4 words. And the 4 words are, "Let us all unite." This is in 1940 that they were trying to get the message out, that this was going on. This has been happening for a long time. So somebody took his speech and made a song out of it. And I thought it was profound.
But I don't want to be an emperor.
So here's the song.
Business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate. We think too much and feel too little. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness. Without these qualities, life will be violent. And all will be lost. All will be lost. Do not despair. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. Dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. Will return to the people. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world to do away with greed. Now let us fight to free the world, to fulfill that promise. Let us all unite. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are men. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful. Let us use that power to make this life a wonderful adventure. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world to do away with greed. Now let us fight to free the world, to fulfill that promise. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world to do away with greed. A world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Do not despair. The hate of men will pass and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. Let us all unite.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show. We'll be right back.
L&M Radio has joined with the Hardened Structures team to provide state-of-the-art survival shelter design and build services at L&M Radio exclusive rates. Hardened Structures, with over 21 years experience in military, commercial, and private shelter design, build services, are also offering L&M Radio listeners a free consultation, normally a $500 value. So click on the Hardened Structures banner on the right-hand side of LateNightInTheMidlands.com to receive your special offer today.
You have found the best place on the internet by tuning into K98Talk.com, where it is our mission to broadcast the very best variety programming, giving you a balance of information from every angle and letting you decide. We are here to serve our listening audience with a proven track record. So stay with K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network, and we will keep you informed.
Hello, this is Lisa Marie, here to tell you about OxySilver, legally available only through CureShop.com and HealthyWorldStore.com. Read Dr. Horowitz's book, Healing Celebrations, to learn how miracle healings can be made to happen through faith, prayer, and a pure diet. Get great immunity using vitamin C, D, and OxySilver, Liquid Dentist, GI Flora Pro, a top-shelf probiotic. Use 528 Superfood as a great tasting meal substitute for energizing organic nutrients and losing weight, and Zeolove and natural clays for detoxifying your body. OxySilver oxygenates and resonates with 528 for faster healing. So help save lives, putting drug lords and criminals out of business, and keep the LNM network broadcasting. Register for our free cooperative at healthyworldaffiliates.com/4948 and buy OxySilver and other great products in package specials at great discounts from theCureShop.com. Buy OxySilver, GI Flora Pro, 528 Superfood, Zeolove, and Love Minerals at great discounts at CureShop.com. That's CureShop.com with 2 P's. Cure Shop. Or call toll free at 1-888-621-7611. That's 1-888-621-7611. Do it now.
It's the middle of the night and there's nothing much to do. Bring your insomniac self over to Late Night in the Midlands and learn something. We've got every topic you can think of with very little being off limits. Alien abductions, government corruptions, the stuff that's got your sleep disrupted. Come join the conversation tales and tune into Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Michael Vera.
If you knew that you would die today, you saw the face of God and love, would you change? Would you change? If you knew that love can't break your heart, when you're down so low you cannot fall, would you change? Would you change? How bad, how good does it need to get? How many losses, how much regret? What chain reaction would cause an effect? Makes you turn around, makes you try to explain, makes you forgive and forget, makes you change. Makes you change. If you knew that you would be alone, knowing right, being wrong, would you change? Would you change? If you knew that you would find a truth that brings a pain that can't be soothed, would you change? Would you change? How bad, how good does it need to get? How many losses, how much regret? What chain reaction would cause an effect? Makes you turn around, makes you try to explain, makes you forgive and forget, makes you change. Makes you change. Are you so upright you can't be bent if it comes to blows? Are you so sure you won't be crawling? If not for the good, why risk falling? Why risk falling? If everything you think you know makes your life unbearable, would you change? Would you change? If you'd broken every rule and vow, and hard times come to bring you down, would you change? Would you change? If you knew that you could die today, if you saw the face of God and love, would you change? Would you change? Would you change? Would you change? If you saw the face of God and love, if you saw the face of God and love, would you change? Would you change?
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show. I'm your host, Riscalla. I want to thank you for taking the time to spend with me tonight, to listen to the opinions, to listen to some of the facts that I share with you. It is my intention to bring people to the point of changing this world. Each of us changing this world. Not only one person, but each of us. You see, when each of us are combined together, when each of us are pulling the rope, if you will, in the same direction, it becomes a totally different experience. You are invested, if you will, in the experience. And what has happened to us is we've all become separated. We've all become, I can't think of the right word to describe it, cold and callous in a way. To some degree. Some not very much, some more than others. And I really believe that this all stems from how we feel about ourselves deep down inside. Whether we're willing to face the truth of whatever has happened has happened. And because it has happened, it has caused us to reach this point in our lives. And if we're not happy with what we have around us at this point of our lives, it is as a result of the choices that we have made. If the choices that we are making are being based upon the experiences that we have had, and some of those experiences we interpret as bad or good, and all of that occurring in our unconscious mind, if we don't come to face all of that, we will just continue in the same cycles over and over and over. I wonder, let me give you a scenario, and I wonder how many people know somebody that this has happened to. The scenario is it's a young lady, a very pretty young lady, who ends up finding a boyfriend that treats her very well, and for whatever reason, they break up. And the young lady says, well, you see, that always happens to me. I have a boyfriend for however long, a couple of months, a couple of years, whatever. And we break up. And then you'll watch this person get out of a relationship, just fresh out of one relationship, not even a couple of weeks out of one relationship, and they're already into another. And that happens over and over and over. And you stand there and you wonder to yourself, are they not able to see what is going on? And the answer is, without question, is no, they're not able to see what's going on, because the decisions that are happening in their life are being based upon an experience that has occurred somewhere previously. Now, whether they recognize that as a conscious or unconscious doesn't change the fact that it is having a basis upon the decisions that they're making. And many times we set ourselves up for failure. We know going into whatever it is that we're going into, this isn't going to work. I'm going to try, but this isn't going to work. We've already set ourselves up for failure. I don't think that some of us understand how powerful the very words that we use are to ourselves, let alone to our environment. Our very thoughts carry power. I say to you that we are very powerful beings. I'm not pulling the wool over your eyes. I'm not blowing smoke at you. I'm telling you a fact. The problem is, that I see, anyway, in my opinion, is that we don't accept ourselves as that powerful person. We see ourselves as just another person walking through life in the great flow of things. You are a powerful being. Each one of us is a powerful being. It has been programmed out of us. It's my intention to program it back into you, because I believe that's what God would have you do. Understand that how powerful you are as an individual. That it's been stolen from you. That a gift that God has given to you has been stolen from you. Hopefully that will cause some righteous anger within you and say, I want it back. You know, for me as a kid, I had a lot of spiritual experiences as a kid, but I didn't think it was spiritual. I didn't know. Heck, it was the first time I was a kid, as far as I can remember anyway. But I did. I had some amazing experiences as a kid, and a lot of it, my parents kept saying, this is your imagination. I know better now. It wasn't just my imagination. That stuff was really happening. It was happening in a different dimension, and I was still able to see it. I was crazy. One of the things that stayed with me for the longest time, I used to be able to see things and hear things. The seeing of the things kind of went away. But the hearing, oh my gosh. I was 6 or 7, maybe 8 years old. I was still hearing conversations that were going on, you know. Thinking that there's people in the room with me. I look around, there's nobody around, but I'm hearing these conversations going on. Where they're coming from, I don't know. I really don't. But I really believe that as we are young children, we are open to all of this because we are still uncorrupted, pure, if you will, virgin, if that's not in an unoffensive way. We haven't been subjected to all of the system, the matrix. It hadn't gotten to us yet. Wasn't able to steal the very gift that God had given us yet. And then as we grow older, you know, we get it from, some of us get it from our parents, our mom or our dad. Some of it might come from friends in school, or maybe not friends in school, where we're spoken of in a less than honorable way. And it affects us. We try to hide it, but it has an effect on us. For some of us, it has an effect on us for the rest of our lives. When I was 15 years old, I had 4 or 5 friends that were really close friends. We were really, we did everything together. And one of those friends was like a brother to me, literally. We were like 2 peas in a pod. Could not separate the 2 of us. We were constantly getting in trouble. Constantly getting in trouble between the 2 of us. To the point that his parents told my parents, we don't want your boy hanging around our boy anymore. That didn't do any good. I think we were soulmates, to be honest with you. This is the same guy that 40 some odd years later, I'm holding his hand as he's taking his last breath and praying over him. But we got in a lot of trouble between 2 of us. And anyway, as this particular time in my life, we were meeting a whole bunch of different people. We met, he met some girls who ended up being girlfriends of some other friends of mine. Well, this other friend of mine, whom I never would have met until I had met this one guy that was like my soulmate, he broke up with this one girl whom I had become friends with. And before I knew it, I was interested in this girl. Now, I'm 15 years old. What do I know? It turns out that I fell deeply in love with this young lady. And the short of the story is, it didn't work out between me and her. We were together for, I think, 5 years. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out between me and her. It took me 10 years. 10 years. It took me a decade before I could face her again. Before I could even really consider thinking about her again. A decade of my life. A decade of decisions of my life were made based upon a relationship that I had when I was 15 years old. A decade. So if that's true for me, I wonder how many other people are out there that have had a similar experience of some sort, where something to them devastated them in some way, even though it really wasn't that devastating. I mean, at 15 years old, you break up with your girlfriend. Okay, you break up with your girlfriend. But I really love this girl. I mean, I really, really love this girl. I would have done anything for this girl. And it broke my heart. But my point being is that this experience took me a decade, took me 10 years of my life to live through. Actually, it's probably realistically even more than that, but after 10 years, the pain had diminished to the point where I could face it. I couldn't even face it. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is that I know that there's other people out there that have had something happen to them. That in reality, I mean, if you were in the outside looking in, it wasn't that big a deal. But to them, it's a big deal. And that's where it's important. To you, it's a big deal. And because it is a big deal to you, it's affecting you. And it may not be affecting you in a way that is healthy for your joy or your fulfillment or your happiness or your peace. It may be affecting you in a different way and causing you to go through your life wondering, why is this happening to me? When there's a way out. I'm telling you, there's a way out. I thank God that at 62 years old, knock on wood, not that I'm superstitious, I'm on nothing. I'm on no medication whatsoever. Zero. How many people 62 years old are on nothing? I have friends of mine who are younger than me that are on a grocery list. A grocery list of pharmaceuticals. I read an article the other day that listed the numbers of people dying from pharmaceuticals. And one of the numbers that they listed, if the number is accurate, because they were estimating, but one of the numbers that they listed indicated that there were more people dying from pharmaceuticals than heroin and cocaine combined. At 62 years old, I don't take anything, not even a freaking aspirin. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Morpheus is explaining to Neo that you were born into a system that makes you a slave. How true could that be? If they get you addicted to these medications that cure nothing, they manage. There's more money in managing. Now, most of us don't think along this line. Most of us, like I said earlier, would rather get along with someone, live off of their happiness than their misery. Most of us. Now, corporations don't care. Corporations have one sole purpose, and that is to produce a profit. Now, having said that, I am a president of a corporation. This is why I'm telling you that I know what I'm talking about when I'm telling you about corporations. It doesn't make any difference what the size of the corporation is. The bottom line is that it must produce a profit. Here's where I have a problem. What is it that you're doing? What is it that you're creating? What is it that you're manufacturing? How is it that you are getting to that profit? There was an article that came up on Facebook. I'm trying to remember I can't remember exactly who wrote it. But it brought about a question that needs to be asked. And the question is, how is it that a company can manufacture a product that could have negative side effects to people, and this product is used in the environment like a pesticide or something like that? How can they invent or create a product like that, knowing that it's going to affect people's lives, and then at the same time make a product that deals with the problem that the people are having because of the other product that they manufactured. Does that make sense to you? The corporation I'm speaking of is the Bayer Corporation, Bayer. They were known for many years for making aspirin. They make pesticides, my friends. And some of the pesticides that they make, they know have disastrous effects on humans. Guess what else they make? They make medication that manages the effects of those pesticides. That's where I have a problem with corporations. When they will stoop to any level that they have to in order to make a profit. Once we can raise our consciousness levels to a point where we understand that all of this is going on, we can stop it. Now it's a quantum jump, if you want the brutal truth. It is a quantum jump from where we are today. But I said to you earlier, in one day, hundreds of millions of lives were changed in one day. If there were enough of us, and it would only take 3 to 5%, if there were enough of us banging the drums of love and peace, that vibration would begin to spread further and further and further. Before you know it, the entire country would change. I tell you, as sure as the sun is going to shine tomorrow, as sure as it has been proven scientifically, for every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. So if 9/11 was perceived as a bad reaction, event, attack, whatever you want to call it, then there is an equal and opposite. It's you and me that can cause that equal and opposite to happen. If enough of us woke up, we could change this country without a question, without an eye blink of doubt within me. We could change this country in a day, the same way that the darkness had changed this country in a day. But the difference is we would be changing it with light. I don't remember who wrote this, but I think it was one of the Grahams, either the father or the son, Billy Graham or his son, I don't recall, that darkness cannot chase darkness out. Only light can do that. That takes me back to, if you were given the opportunity and told that all of these evil people have been corralled up and given a remote, would you push the button? You see, that's why I know it. We'd never get rid of it, because we're just perpetuating it. It has to be done through love and light. And the only possible way that that's going to happen is to start with each one of us, to accept ourselves as the awesome person that each one of us is. And we don't look up to a leader. What has happened in the past is that every time there is a leader, he has either been let down the people who have looked up to them or been done away with. If he's leading them in the right direction, he's just done away with and everybody goes scattering. And we're back to a division. What has to change, what I believe one of the messages that Christ was giving the people, what has to change is each one of us is a leader. Each one of us uses the circle of influence of people that we have around us in a positive manner. And it won't take long, my friends. But first we have to look at ourselves in an honest, in a brutally honest way. And not cover anything. Let it all come out. Face it head on, whatever that fear is. When I was told that I had a fear of being wrong, boy, that didn't sit right with me. I kept telling myself, wait, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't. But you know what? When I truly evaluated it within myself, that person was right. I had a fear of being wrong. And it helped further my understanding, my perception of what was going on. It was a lesson that was so simple, yet so complex, yet so deep. Because I opened myself up to it. I didn't automatically shun it. Well, yes, I did. But I didn't stay that way. I did automatically shun it, because when she told me, I got angry, and that was shunning it. But it kept eating away at me, because there's that part of me that wants to know the truth. It kept eating away at me. She is not right. She's not right. I know that person is not right. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to get up there. I'm not afraid of being wrong. And the more I looked at myself, the more I realized that person was right. I was afraid of being wrong. And as it turns out, I said to you earlier, we give up opportunities we don't even know. I would have been right. That's what they were expecting. They wanted somebody from the group to break the ice and get up there on their own without being told. I was right. But I was afraid of being wrong. How many of you are afraid of being wrong and allowing that to affect your day in and day out lives in a manner that doesn't bring you happiness and joy and fulfillment? How many of you have turned down an opportunity, maybe unknowingly, because of something that has happened in your past? How many of you make a judgment prematurely? Oh, I know this isn't going to work out. And then go ahead and go through with it anyway and live through that pain and then say, this always happens to me. Why does this always happen to me? How many of you are willing to change? The song says, if you saw the face of God in love, would you change? I tell you, you can see the face of God and you can see the face of love. Go look in a mirror. Go look in a mirror. And if that's not what you're seeing, you better start working on making it that way. Because you're never going to find true happiness. You will never find true fulfillment. I don't care what they tell you. My Christian friends freak out when I say this. God is not going to automatically touch you and bring you all of this happiness. Nobody I know of has ever had that happen to them. They have to wake up to who they are. God has already given you all of that. You have to accept it. He loves you enough to create you. How about you love yourself as much as he loves you? I don't know if that's possible. But that maybe you would see yourself in a different light, that you are so important, that you are so effective as a part of the plan of this thing that we call life. Now, whether that effectiveness works in your life to bring you happiness or fulfillment, or if it pulls you in the other direction, that's up to you. But I tell you honestly, truthfully, it starts with how you see your reflection in that mirror. It's how you perceive the love that is within you, that God has given you. That's why I said to you earlier, I don't know of anybody that God has poof, and all of a sudden they're happy. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it's, in my experience, I don't know of anybody that was going through life praying, oh God, please, I'm not happy, blah, blah, and all of a sudden, in an instant, bang, they're not that way anymore. Now, I do know people who find God, who find Jesus, and through finding that, they begin to delve into their own self, and they find more happiness that way. But I tell you that it is until you have a good relationship, a good, healthy relationship with yourself, You'll never understand having a relationship with anybody else, let alone God, let alone the Lord. Forget all of that. It's just not going to happen, because you have to have, the Bible calls it foundation. I'm trying to think of the right word. Foundation. You've got to have a foundation. It's like when you build a house. If you build a house and you lay out the foundation in concrete, then you have laid a proper foundation to build a nice house on top of that would have strength to it. It would be properly placed. But if you just took the sand and that was in the area of the dirt and just pounded it down and then tried to build a house on top of it, the first time that there was some kind of a problem, whether it rained too much or snowed too much or whatever, you'd probably lose your home. So you have to have that foundation. The foundation that I'm speaking of is the relationship that you have with yourself. I truly believe this is the message that God has given me to each one of you who take the time to listen to me. Thank you. You have to have a relationship with yourself where you can look at yourself in the mirror and you accept and love that reflection. And when you get to that point, I promise you, your life will change. Your life will change. Morpheus says that you can't, I can't explain it to you. You have to experience it yourself. What I am presenting to you, my friends, what I am inviting you to do, if you will put 100% into this, you will change your life. You will be seeing the face of God in love. And it will change your life. It will change the way that you process information. And before you know it, the world around you will begin to change in a positive manner, because you are giving out the light. I gave an analogy of I was in a room with a bunch of pastors, and they were all giving candles. And one pastor, who was like the kind of the speaker at the time, lit his candle. They turned all the lights off, and he lit his candle. And he went around and he lit, I don't know, I guess he lit about 10 of the other pastors' candles, and then those 10 went out and started lighting everybody's candles. and within the span of a couple of minutes, excuse me, the whole room was lit up like the lights never went off. Yet the important thing was the very first candle that gave off the very first light to the next candle never lost any of its light. It still kept putting out light. That's what we are, in a way. I mean, that's symbolically, this is what we are, my friends. We are candles. And we are to give off our light to other people so that they can become a candle. And when enough of us are lit up, the darkness will have nowhere to go. We will chase the darkness away. That's what I was trying to explain to you earlier about when you're a child and you don't need a pacifier anymore, and you don't need the children's food anymore, and you don't need the children's cereals anymore. That's what happens. You chase the darkness out. You just don't need it anymore. Because what these people have planned for us is anything shy of a walk in the park. They have made their decision as to what they want to do. They have engraved it in stone, for God's sake. And they put it out so the public can see it. They want you to know this is what we're doing. Don't you think we should respond? And don't you think we should respond in a manner that would bring us victory? Not just respond, because 2 months ago, if I would have asked that question to myself, I'd say, yeah, get me the biggest gun I can find. Let me blow these bastards away. But that doesn't work. It doesn't work. I want something that works. I don't want to stick a Band-Aid over a deep wound. I want to heal the wound. I want to stop the hatred. And if I'm going to stop the hatred, killing isn't going to help. I know to some of you that's kind of stupid, notoriously stupid, but that's really what I have learned. And I swear to you, as God is my witness, I swear to you, 2 months ago I would have told you completely different. If they'd have handed me the remote, I'd have pushed the button in a blink of an eye. See you, bye. You deserve it. But it wouldn't stop. That's the problem. It wouldn't stop it. Because you perpetuated it. The way to stop it is to no longer perpetuate it. The way to no longer perpetuate it is to feel good about yourself, because they want you to feel crappy about you, your relationships, everything else that's going around you. They want you to be in fear. Divorce rates are higher than they've ever been before. Families are being torn apart. It is hell to go through a divorce. I've been through it. I now understand why the Bible says God hates divorce. It's not the divorce that he hates. It's what the volcano of problems that it creates. Yet it's being shoved down our throats day in and day out. Everything is disposable. Your radio's disposable, your computer's disposable, your smartphone's disposable, your television's disposable, your relationships are disposable, your kids are disposable. Everything's disposable. No, my friends, everything is not disposable. People are not disposable. Families are being ripped apart by watching that stupid little thing that they call a television. They don't even realize it. They don't even understand what is happening to them. They're basing the decisions on life upon experiences of watching this box that has intruded into their lives in and day out, not realizing that it is a program that is being run, and that they, like good little computers, which each one of us is, are following the program. I wish that I could record a video of this vision that I had and play it for people so they see what we're missing out on. God, are we missing out? There is so much that we could be doing. God, are we missing out? And if only people could be brought to that point. How? How are we going to do that? We're going to do that by understanding ourselves and loving ourselves as God loves us. And then we'll have a newfound vision for people around us. We will be the candles, lighting the other candles. As we light the other candles, there will be more and more light on this planet. We won't have need for all of this. A friend of mine who is very intelligent, this person runs a multi-million-dollar company. We got into a discussion about vaccines. And he said to me, I was ignorant, that numbers don't lie, that diseases that were prevalent at some time in our lives are been driven out because of vaccines. Now, my argument with vaccines are, I don't know what's happened in the past. I can tell you that I took a measles shot when I was a kid and got measles. So for whatever good it did, some people tell me that the measles shot I took gave me the measles. I don't know. My position against vaccines is what I had said to you earlier, where corporations are making this product. The purpose of corporations is to produce a profit. They can make more money by putting more junk than higher quality ingredients in their shots, in their injections. As a result, with all of the money that they have made, they have lobbied our government, and they have made it so that they are protected regardless of what happens to you. Whether you die, whether you become inflicted in some way, something doesn't work right from that point forward, doesn't matter. Whatever happens to you, you cannot sue them. even though they manufactured it, even though there was evidence that they knew that it was going to affect a certain percentage of the population, none of that matters. Now, let me ask you a question. If you had a little boy who was a brat, would you just continue to give that little brat more of whatever they wanted? And the little brat would do all kinds of devilish things, but never get punished. Instead, you would just give him more of whatever he wanted. Do you think that's going to resolve a problem? Because that's exactly what has happened. We have a government that has said, we don't care what happens to you when you take a shot. It doesn't really mean a whole hill of beans to us. You can't go after the manufacturer. We are protecting them. What other industry do you know of that is given free rein like that? And it doesn't stop there. Because what is concerning me now is more and more talk about forced vaccinations. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Ben Carson. This is a man I've been following for a while. About a month ago, something clicked in my spirit about him. I said, I'm taking a step back. I just don't know. And I couldn't put my finger on it. Today or yesterday? Today, I think it was. Yesterday, I don't know. Found an article where this man has publicly said that vaccinations should not be voluntary. Should not be voluntary. This man was a doctor. This man is a doctor. Forgive me. He's a neurosurgeon. He's a brain surgeon. He's a brain doctor. He's telling people that vaccinations should not be voluntary. Vaccinations should be forced upon people. You remember what I told you a few minutes ago about corporations and profit? And the little brat who just kept getting more and more of whatever he wanted and never being punished. They want to force us to take vaccinations. They have people believing that this is okay. This friend of mine, who runs a multi-million-dollar company, is absolutely convinced that vaccines are the way to go. And so we got into a discussion, and he, like I mentioned, referred to me as ignorant. And I said it wasn't ignorance. It was research. All you have to do is look at the ingredients. Just look at the ingredients of what is in the injection. And then go research those ingredients, and you will find there's no way they can be safe. You have a small group of people who have proclaimed that they're going to reduce the population of this planet by an astronomically huge number. Now, some people think, that'll never happen, because they're thinking in their mind you're going to do it all at one time. No, they're not going to do it all at one time. They're going to do it over a period of time. So what happens to somebody if they take a flu shot, and then 30 years later they develop cancer? Because I was told that the measles shot that I took as a child, I think it was the measles shot, it was one of the shots that I took as a child, has been proven, had cancerous, what did they call it? It had cancer in it, but it's dormant for a number of years, so it can't be associated with the shot. You follow what I'm saying? Makes sense to you? They manufacture it in such a way so that it lays dormant in your body, and then sometime later you get cancer. Well, I've had cancer twice. Is it because of that? I don't know. Do I believe that? I'm just saying. This is all information that's come up. When I was growing up, when I was in high school, I knew one person of all the friends. Now think about this for a minute. When you're in school, it's a giant society. It's like Facebook in reality. You've got all these people that you may not be friends with all of them, but you're acquaintances. You know them. You know them by face, something like that. But they may not be intimately involved, but you know enough about them that if their mom or their dad had cancer, you'd know about it, right? I knew one person through the entire experience of junior high through senior high. That was 6 years. One person of all of the people that I knew had cancer. Their mom had cancer and died as a result of having cancer. One person. Now, it's 1 in every 3. Every 3. Why? Why is that? Where did that come from? You got doctors that are saying it's the environment. I won't argue with that. Our environment has the lack of respect that the human race, let me back up a minute, the lack of respect that the small group of people who call themselves human race have perpetrated upon this planet is disgusting because of destroying the planet. So a toxic environment is very possibly and probably part of the reason. What about toxic substances that we come into contact with? What about toxic substances that are in vaccines? If any of you are pro-vaccine, all I ask of you is to do me one favor, please. Go get the ingredients for whatever vaccine it is that you're getting ready to take or going to have or going to expect to take, and then thoroughly research those ingredients as to the dangers or non-dangers or hazards or non-hazards of those ingredients. I don't think it would take much more than a elementary education to come to a conclusion whether it is or whether it is not. The information is there. They want to force us. They want to force you and I to take a shot. That's not going to happen with this person. That's just simply not going to happen. That will be the time when I defend myself. They will not do that. Somebody will die. I'm not exaggerating. Either I will die or the person trying to give me that shot will die. But I'll be damned if I'll allow them to shoot me with anything. That's just crazy. And that is not their place. Besides, I have so many times said to people, it is not the place of our government to force us to do anything. If anything, the Constitution was written to limit them. And they've overstepped their boundaries, leaps and bounds. So, it's up to you and me, my friends. The change comes from within. The change comes starting with you. The change comes starting with me. Are you ready to change? Are you ready to bring about the positive change that would affect everybody? Instead, just a few small elite people. Are you willing to face whatever it is that has caused you to make decisions that have made your life unhappy and bring about the change within yourself? And in doing so, change our world. Let's change our world, friends. But let's change it for a positive future, because right now we are on some really nasty tracks, and where they're leading isn't very pleasant at all. And it is all up to us. Listen, this is, if anything, that I can convince you of tonight, is that it is up to you and me. Either we allow it or we don't allow it. Whether we do that consciously or subconsciously, or whether we do it knowingly or unknowingly, doesn't really make any difference. The bottom line is, we allow it or we disallow it. And we are being programmed to allow this, and we need to break the program. And the way to break the program is to change. Change ourselves at our very core, and the program will no longer work. Are you willing to change? You've been listening to the Red Pill Reality Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
If you knew that you would die today, you saw the face of God and love, would you change? Would you change? If you knew that love can't break your heart, when you're down so low you cannot fall, would you change? Would you change? How bad, how good does it need to get? How many losses, how much regret? What chain reaction would cause an effect? Makes you turn around, makes you try to explain, makes you forgive and forget, makes you change. Makes you change. If you knew that you could be alone, knowing right, being wrong, would you change? Would you change? If you knew that you could find a truth that brings a pain that can't be soothed, would you change? Would you change? How bad, how good does it need to get? How many losses, how much regret? What chain reaction would cause an effect? Makes you turn around, makes you try to explain, makes you forgive and forget, makes you change. Makes you change. Are you so upright you can't be bent if it comes to blows? Are you so sure you won't be crawling? If not for the good, why risk falling? Why risk falling? If everything you think you know makes your life unbearable, would you change? Would you change? If you'd broken every rule and vow, and hard times come to bring you down, would you change? Would you change? If you knew that you could die today, if you saw the face of God and love, would you change? Would you change? Would you change? Would you change? If you saw the face of God and love, if you saw the face of God and love, would you change? Would you change?
You have been listening to the Red Pill Reality Show. I am your host, Riscalla. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out to spend with us here on the L&M Network and share my opinion and share some of the facts that I've come across. My intention is to change this world in a positive manner, my friends. And my intention is to help do that by changing each one of us first. And in doing so, that we be the candles that light the other candles and light this world up. You are the light. Allow that light to come through. Allow that light to light up another candle. Be a leader. Don't be led. God bless you, and we'll see you in a week.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red pill.